The results from the 23andMe test were glowing on my laptop screen, and in that single, sterile moment, my entire world didn't just break, it evaporated. It turned into smoke and dust, revealing that the foundation I'd built my life on was nothing but a lie. Because right there, in crisp, digital, undeniable text, it said that Liam, my fiancé, the man whose hand I was supposed to hold for the rest of my life, shared 25.1% of his DNA with my 3-year-old brother, Leo. And right below their names, the app had helpfully provided a label for their relationship, a label that made the air leave my lungs in one silent, brutal gasp: father/son. So yeah, there I was, staring at a screen that told me the man I was going to marry in 3 months was the secret biological father of the little boy I thought was my brother. The little boy my own mother had given birth to. Let me tell you, the story of how I got to this point is so much worse, so much more twisted than you can possibly imagine. It all started, I guess, in a place of perfect, boring happiness. I was 26, engaged to Dr. Liam Walker. He was the cliché, handsome, brilliant, a pediatric resident who was so good with kids it made my ovaries ache. We'd been together since my senior year of college. He was my rock, my best friend. Our families loved each other. It was, perfect. Almost sickeningly so. My family was your standard suburban setup. There was my dad, Tom, a quiet, kind man who worked too hard in finance but did it all for us. There was my mom, Karen, who was a lot. She's one of those women who is always perfectly put together, the kind of mom who is president of the PTA and whose love felt a little too conditional, a little too centered on appearances. She always had to be the main character. And she absolutely adored Liam. He's the son I never had. She'd trill, running her fingers through his hair in a way that always felt a little too familiar. At the time, I brushed it off. I thought, she's just happy for me. God, I was an idiot. And then there was Leo. My sweet, bubbly, beautiful little brother. He was the miracle baby, the happy little accident. My mom had him when she was 49 and my dad was 52. It was a massive shock to everyone, including them. But after the initial surprise, he became the absolute center of our family's universe. I was 23 when he was born, and I loved him fiercely from the second I held him. He had this mop of dark hair and these huge, startlingly blue eyes. That was the first little detail, the first tiny thread in the tapestry of lies that I never thought to pull. You see, no one in my immediate family has blue eyes. My mom's are green, my dad's are brown, mine are hazel. But Liam? Liam's eyes are the color of a clear summer sky. When people pointed it out, my mom would just laugh and say, "Oh, it must be a throwback gene." My great aunt had blue eyes. And we all just accepted it. Because why wouldn't you? Why would you ever, in a million years, invent the horrifying alternative? Liam and my mom had a special bond. I convinced myself it was sweet. He was making an effort with his future mother-in-law. They had inside jokes I wasn't a part of. He'd go over to my parents' house during the week to help my mom set up her new computer or fix the garbage disposal. I was busy with my own job, so I'd just say, "Thanks so much for helping her out, babe. You know how she is with technology." He was just being the perfect, helpful future son-in-law. Or so I thought. The first real crack in the facade, the first moment where my stomach did a little lurch of wrongness, was at a family barbecue last summer. It was a perfect day. Dad was at the grill. I was making a flower crown for Leo out of dandelions. Leo, being a toddler, was running around like a maniac, tripped over a sprinkler head, and went down hard. His knee was scraped up, and he immediately started screaming, that full-throated, terrified wail of a small child. Before I could even get up, Liam was there. He swooped in, scooping Leo into his arms with a practiced ease. He held him close, rocking him gently. "Sure, it's okay, buddy," he murmured, his voice low and soothing. "It's okay. Daddy's here." The world stopped for a beat. The chirping of birds, the sizzle of the grill, everything went silent. Liam froze, his eyes wide with panic. My dad looked up from the burgers, confused. My mom's smile was suddenly brittle. Liam recovered in a split second, forcing a laugh. Liam's here. Uncle Liam is here. Right, buddy?" He tickled Leo, who was starting to calm down, distracted by the attention. My mom jumped in, her own laugh, just a little too loud, a little too sharp. "Oh, Liam, you're just a natural. You're going to be such a wonderful father someday," she gushed, patting his arm. The moment passed. But it didn't really. It hung in the air, thick and strange. That night, when Liam and I were getting ready for bed, I brought it up. "That was kind of weird today," I said, trying to sound casual. "When you called yourself Daddy to Leo." He immediately got defensive. His whole posture changed. "Clara, come on." It was a slip of the tongue. "I'm a pediatric resident. I'm around scared kids and parents all day." The words just got jumbled. "Don't make it into a thing." He made me feel crazy for even questioning it. So I dropped it. But I didn't forget. It was a little stone in my shoe, a constant, nagging discomfort that I couldn't quite shake. Then, the wedding planning started and things got weirder. My mom went into overdrive. It was like it was her wedding, not mine. Every decision I made, she had a better suggestion for. And Liam, my fiancé, my partner, sided with her. Every single time. I wanted a rustic barn wedding. They ganged up on me, insisting on this incredibly stuffy, ridiculously expensive hotel ballroom. "Your mother just has such impeccable taste, honey," Liam would say, squeezing my hand. "We should trust her." They started having these long, private phone calls. "Just sorting out the catering deposit," my mom would say brightly if I walked in. "Just confirming the florist with Karen," Liam would tell me. I felt like a third wheel in the planning of my own wedding. I confronted my mom about it, telling her I felt like she was taking over. She immediately burst into tears, accusing me of being ungrateful. "I'm just trying to make sure your day is perfect. This is as much my day as it is yours, you know. I'm the mother of the bride." The raw, possessive entitlement in her voice was chilling. The next escalation was much scarier. We were all at the mall a few months before the wedding, me, my mom, and Leo. My mom bought him a pretzel with cinnamon sugar. He'd never had it before. He took one bite, and within minutes, his face started to swell. He was struggling to breathe. It was a full-blown anaphylactic reaction. It was the most terrifying moment of my life. We rushed him to the ER in the mall. Liam, who was on his lunch break nearby, met us there. As the doctors worked on Leo, they started firing questions at us about family medical history. My dad was away on a business trip, so it was just me, my mom, and Liam. The ER doctor asked, "Any history of severe food allergies in the family? Nuts, shellfish, anything like that?" My mom and I both shook our heads. "No, nothing this severe," I said. And then Liam spoke up. "There's a history of a rare cinnamon cross allergy on his father's side," he said, his voice calm and clinical. "It presents as an allergy to birch pollen as well." The doctor looked at him, then at my mom. "Okay, and you are?" "He's my daughter's fiancé," my mom said quickly, shooting Liam a look that was pure panic. "He's a pediatric resident. He's just very knowledgeable." Liam quickly backpedaled. "Yeah, I read a case study on it recently. It's a long shot, but worth mentioning." The doctor gave them a strange, lingering look before turning back to his chart. But I saw it. I saw the flash of communication that passed between my mother and my fiancé. It was a shared secret, a shared lie, happening right in front of me in the middle of a hospital emergency room. My blood ran cold. How could he possibly know about a rare allergy on my dad's side? How? The pieces of the puzzle were floating around in my head, horrifying, monstrous shapes, but my mind just refused to put them together. It was too ugly. It was impossible. The final straw, the thing that finally forced me to look at the monster I was refusing to see, happened about a month ago. I was at my parents' house, looking for old family photo albums to make a slideshow for the wedding reception. My mom told me to check the closet in their home office. I was rummaging through boxes when I saw it, my mom's old laptop, sitting on a shelf collecting dust. I don't know why I did it. A gut feeling? A desperate need to prove myself wrong? I took it down, opened it, and pressed the power button. It whirred to life. There was no password on the main login. The desktop was cluttered with old files. I clicked on the My Pictures folder. There were thousands of photos. And then I saw a subfolder. It was named Private. This one was password protected. The hint was My Little Miracle. My fingers trembled as I typed in the letters, Elio. The folder opened. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I expected to find more photos, maybe some sappy journal entries. But it wasn't photos. It was a saved archive of emails. An email chain between my mother's personal account and Liam's. The subject line was just, us. It started 4 years ago. 4 years ago, when I was still in college and Liam and I were doing long distance. I clicked open the first email. And I read. I read for what felt like an eternity, sitting on the floor of that dusty closet while my world burned down around me. I read about their secret meetings at hotels. I read their declarations of love. I read about how my mom felt seen for the first time in years, and how Liam was an old soul who understood her like my dad never could. It was sickening. And then, the emails from about 3.5 years ago started. My mom telling him she was pregnant. His panic. His excitement. Their plan. They talked about their secret, their son, their miracle. They talked about my dad and how easy he was to fool. And they talked about me. They talked about how Liam had to end the physical affair and focus on me, how he had to lock me down and marry me. Because if he married me, he could be in Leo's life forever. He could be Uncle Liam. He could be there for his son, hiding in plain sight. I felt a scream building in my throat, but I choked it down. I scrolled and scrolled, my vision blurring with tears. I found the email from the day of the barbecue, sent late that night from Liam to my mom. That was too close today. The daddy thing. We have to be more careful. Clara is smart. Don't underestimate her. My mom's reply, don't worry, my love. She's too in love to see the truth. She only sees what we want her to see. At that moment, the grief and the shock and the horror all collapsed into a single, terrifying point of clarity. It was a rage so cold and so pure it felt like ice in my veins. They didn't just betray me. They used me. My entire relationship, my future, my love, it was all just a tool for their disgusting, selfish plan. I wasn't a person to them. I was a prop. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I sat there on the floor and I became very, very calm. I pulled out my phone and I took pictures of every single email. Evidence. Then I put the laptop back exactly where I found it, closed the closet door, and walked out of that house. They thought I was too in love to see the truth. Well, I was about to show them just how clearly I could see. That night, I went online and I ordered 3 DNA kits from 23andMe. A few days later, when they arrived, I presented them to Liam with a bright, fake smile. Babe, I had the cutest idea for the wedding. I chirped. I thought we could do a family tree thing and connect our ancestry. It'll be so fun to show at the reception. I even got one for Leo, so we can see what a mix he is of our 2 families. Liam, arrogant and completely unsuspecting, thought it was a brilliant idea. He praised my creativity. My mom, when I told her, practically wept with joy. Oh, honey, what a beautiful way to symbolize our families joining together. The 3 of us, plus my dad, all spat in our little tubes and sent them off. And then I waited. It was the longest 2 weeks of my life. I went through the motions. I went to my dress fitting. I discussed flower arrangements. I smiled and nodded and let Liam hold my hand, and every time he touched me, my skin crawled. I was playing the part of the happy, oblivious bride-to-be. I was playing the part they had written for me. But I was writing a new final act. And then, the email arrived. Your DNA results are in. I locked myself in my office. I logged in. And there it was. My connection to Leo, half-sibling. Liam's connection to Leo, father. It was time for the show to begin. The confrontation couldn't be a private, tearful affair. They didn't deserve that. They deserved an audience. They deserved to have the perfect world they'd built on my back come crashing down around them in the most public way possible. And I knew exactly where to do it. My mom had insisted, and Liam, of course, had agreed, that we have a formal engagement party 2 months before the wedding. It was held in a private dining room at the fanciest restaurant in town. Both of our extended families were there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, Liam's parents. It was a room full of about 40 people who thought they were there to celebrate a beautiful young couple in love. They had no idea they had front row seats to a detonation. I wore a red dress. I wanted to look like a warning. The dinner was excruciating. I sat between Liam and my mother, the two of them laughing and touching my arm, completely oblivious. I smiled, I made small talk, I sipped my wine. I waited. Finally, after the main course, the toasts began. My dad went first. He stood up, his eyes shining, and gave a beautiful, heartfelt speech about how he couldn't be happier to welcome Liam into the family, how he was the son he'd always wanted. I had to bite the inside of my cheek so hard I tasted blood. Then, my mom stood up. Oh, it was an Emmy-worthy performance. She dabbed at her eyes with a napkin and talked about watching her little girl grow up and find the perfect man. She talked about what a blessing Liam was and how happy she was for our future and for all the grandchildren we would give her. The irony was so thick I could have choked on it. Then it was my turn. The room went quiet. I stood up, my wine glass in my hand. I just want to thank you all for coming, I started, my voice surprisingly steady. It means the world to us to have everyone we love in one room. I smiled, a wide, sharp smile that didn't reach my eyes. Family is so important, isn't it? And secrets can just tear a family apart. A few people shifted uncomfortably. Liam and my mom were starting to look nervous. You know, I've been doing a lot of thinking about family lately. About genetics. Where we come from. What makes us who we are. I looked right at Liam. For instance, my little brother Leo has the most striking blue eyes. Just like Liam's. It's such a funny, sweet little coincidence, don't you think? The air in the room became very, very still. So, for a bit of fun, I got some of us DNA tests. As a little wedding project. To build a family tree. I pulled out my phone. The restaurant had a projector screen we had been using for a slideshow of baby pictures. I'd come early and made sure my phone could connect to it. With a tap, the screen flickered to life. And I got the most fascinating results back this week, I said, my voice dripping with venom. I think you'll all be interested to see. I put the screenshot from the 23andMe app on the screen. Big, bold letters. Liam Walker. Leo Miller. Relationship. Father/son. You could have heard a pin drop. It was followed by a collective gasp that seemed to suck all the oxygen out of the room. My dad just stared. He stared at the screen, then at my mom, then at Liam, his face turning a sickly shade of gray. Liam's parents looked utterly horrified and confused. Liam jumped to his feet. What is this? This is a joke. Clara, this is crazy. That's photoshopped. My mother started shrieking. How dare you? How could you do this, Clara? You're sick. You're trying to ruin your own wedding for attention. Am I, Mom? I asked, my voice deadly calm. Am I making it up? I swiped on my phone and the first email appeared on the screen. The one where they discussed their plan to get me to marry him so he could be in his son's life. I started to read it. Aloud. My dearest Karen, I read, my voice ringing through the silent room. We have to be careful. Once I'm married to Clara, everything will be easier. I can be Uncle Liam and watch our beautiful boy grow up. We just need to hold on a little longer. She suspects nothing. My dad made a choked sound and slumped down into his chair, looking like he'd been shot. Liam's mother let out a strangled cry and slapped her hand over her mouth. I kept going. I read the email where my mom called Liam the love of her life. I read the one where they panicked after the daddy slip-up at the barbecue. With every word, my mom got paler and Liam looked more and more like a cornered animal. When I was done, I looked around the room at the sea of shocked and disgusted faces. My work was done. I turned to Liam, whose face was ashen. I slowly pulled the 3-carat diamond ring from my finger. It felt like a shackle I was finally removing. I walked over to him, and with the whole room watching, I dropped it into his full glass of champagne. It landed with a quiet little plink. It's over, I said, my voice low. All of it. Then I turned to the woman who gave birth to me. She was sobbing, babbling about misunderstandings. And you, I said, the cold rage making my voice shake just a little. You are not my mother. You are just the woman who had an affair with my fiancé and gave birth to a son. And with that, I turned around, and I walked out of the restaurant. I didn't look back. I just left them all in the burning wreckage of the lives they had destroyed. It's been a year now. The fallout was biblical. My dad filed for divorce the very next day. The DNA test and the emails were all the proof he needed. It was messy and horrible, but he got full custody of Leo and he bought my mom out of the house. He's a broken man in many ways, but he's slowly putting himself back together. He and I are closer than ever. He is the most incredible father to Leo, who is, thank God, too young to understand any of this. We'll tell him the truth someday, when he's old enough. We'll tell him he has a dad who loves him more than anything and a sister who would burn down the world for him. My mom, well, she's a ghost. A social pariah. Our entire family, and my dad's, has completely disowned her. She lost everything. Her husband, her daughter, her home, her reputation. Last I heard, she and Liam are living together in some sad little apartment 2 towns over. I guess they finally get to be together, without any lies. Poetic justice, maybe. But I feel nothing for them but a cold, empty pity. As for me, I sold the wedding dress. I moved to a new city, got a new job, and I've been in a lot of therapy. It's been the hardest year of my life. I've had to mourn a man I loved who never really existed. I've had to mourn the mother I thought I had. But I'm healing. I'm rebuilding my life from the ground up, on a foundation of truth this time. They don't get to control my narrative anymore. This is my story. So yeah, that's how I found out my fiancé was my little brother's secret dad and blew up their entire world at our engagement party. It sounds like a crazy, made-for-TV movie, but it was my reality. And as painful as it was, I wouldn't change a thing. I'm free now. If you made it this far into my insane story, thank you for listening. It really means a lot to be able to tell it. If you want to follow my journey of what comes next, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me when I say, this is just the